Welcome back, trainers, and in this video we're going to be going over when you should purify a shadow Pokemon, because sometimes you're thinking, should I purify this for the 100? Should I keep it? It's got a Mega, I have 2 good shadows. Which one should I go with here? So I'm going to go over what my formula is for purifying a shadow Pokemon and why, and a few other variables in between. So let's go ahead and get into this here. If you do enjoy these kind of tip videos, please make sure you give this video a thumbs up, and let's go ahead and start this off right now. All right, so we're going to go ahead and go through all my Pokemon, starting from Bulbasaur to the end. And then we're going to take a look at my purified Pokemon so you can see what we have going on there as well. Now, you're going to see a lot of horrible IVs here that have been invested in for specific leagues, because it was either they're brand new and I needed something right now to test it out, and that's just what I got. So that's where we're at. Now let's talk about purifying a Pokemon as we go through these Pokemon, and then we'll get into the specifics and look at the screen here. We got this nice 96 Kakuna. So if I purify this, it'll be 100. The reason why I haven't is because I've already got 100 Beedrill. That's also a legacy. So there's really no point. You can't Mega Evolve a Shadow, so I might as well keep a good Shadow Beedrill for some time in the future. Who knows? Ekans here would become 100. So if you're not familiar with how the IVs work and everything, if you're newer, or just a little refresher, what's going to happen when you purify a Pokemon is you're going to gain 2 IVs in each stat. So if you're 13, 13, 13, you will become a 100% IV. When you're a Shadow Pokemon, you do 20% more damage in gyms and raids. Anywhere you're attacking. You're also going to be taking 20% more damage as well. Now, purified Pokemon, unfortunately, doesn't do any extra damage, doesn't take any less damage, whatever. It's just all the same. The only thing that happens for a purified Pokemon is you're going to gain a move called Return. And there you go. I mean, it's going to cost you less Stardust to power them up too. That is another little perk. So you do have that going on. You could, in theory, have a purified Pokemon, trade it, and if it becomes lucky, or if you become a lucky friend, man, that was a big piece of dust, it will be even less to power up, so consider that. Now, I do have a bunch of random Pokemon here lined up with PvP IVs for future community days that I know we're going to be getting. I can tell you all of the ones you can see here on the screen. Some of them have PvP IVs. If you're like, no way, that's not going to get a community day. How many times, like I said, how many people do I have to mow down comments before we reach the center of your brain where you understand? I don't know. Anyways. All right, now let's go ahead and look at what we have on screen here. So let's see. All right, Great Shadow Poliwrath, horrible IVs for that one. It's just, I made it, whatever. Random Abra sitting around, great Machamp. That's my Shadow Machamp that I always use, powered up all the way. And we do have this other Shadow that it's not quite there. Now look at this Weeping Bell, at 98%. Now we could obviously purify that to be 100, but we've already got 100% Victory Bell. So let's keep this a Shadow and wait for a community day so we can look good with that one there, right? All right, moving on here. There's a lot of Shadows that I probably should transfer. I'm just holding on to them from some sort of, I don't know, extreme flip change in gameplay, or they just do some massive update and then, oh no, we can do this, or add IVs, or divide IVs, or whatever. Anyways, continuing on here, I was looking at this Drowsy here, but it's unfortunately going to be a 15-12, so it would be 1 point short of being completely maxed out in the defense. So I'm not going to obviously go for that, and we're going to look at our Shadows here. Now, another thing to consider when purifying a Pokemon is, do you have multiple, and does it have a Mega? Because if it has a Mega and the Shadow is outperforming it, I'm not going to necessarily say you're going to want to go with the Shadow, because those are going to be expensive as hell to power up. Really expensive. And not only that, they're going down so much faster in the battle themselves. But the nice thing about a Shadow is you can use it in any league and go battle league anytime you want, as opposed to a Mega where it's specifically for when they allow us to use Megas. And I don't even know when we're going to be able to do that again, because there's a glitch. And I'm going to tell you, you want to know how to do it? I'm just going to let it know. Actually, we'll save it for another video. You're like, tell me how I get multiple Megas. I already know how it works. All right, so that's another thing to consider if they have a Mega, okay? As far as this legendaries here, I just don't have... I just feel like it's not worth the investment. Now, Mewtwo's the biggest one people cringe when they purify, right? I was going to purify one, but I was looking for one that would become a 100% IV if I did purify it. This one was extremely close. I just needed one more point in the defense and we would have been able to do that to get 100. Although I do have 100 Mewtwo right now, which took me 6 years to get from the day it was released in EX raids, which was ridiculous. We haven't powered that one up because we already made one. But when it comes to the shadows here, I will say if you have a good shadow that's going to be 100 if you purify it, and I know you're going to get a lot of grief from your peers if you do that, but it's going to get Mega Mewtwo X and Y, so screw them. No, I'm not in a silly way, okay, in a funny, jokey way. I'm not like, you know, trying to be mean, okay. Also, if you have multiple Mega Mewtwo or Shadow Mewtwo, you don't just want to purify your, you know, the only good Mewtwo you have, Shadow, because then it's gone. Because Shadow Mewtwo is very, very good, and you don't want to just purify it. But if you did do the raid day, you probably have a bunch. You can purify whatever you want to, right? So there is that. That was one of the biggest questions people kept not particularly asking me. It's just a question in general on the internet. Should I purify my Mewtwo if it's 100? Well, consider Mega Mewtwo Y and X that are going to be extremely good, because if you have a Shadow, you're not going to be able to Mega Evolve it. Anyways, moving it on here. As you can see, my Shadow collection is very diverse. And we got a lot of horrible IVs and a lot of decent IVs as well. You get what you get. Look at this one, 98% Snubble. I am waiting for a community day. It's going to cost me 600,000 Stardust to max this thing out here. I was very happy with this. I like Gramble and Snubble. I didn't before when I was younger. I couldn't stand the design. I thought it was... Gramble was okay. Snubble annoyed me. But they're cool now. Alrighty, so we're going to actually purify this one though. So we're going to do a purification in this video so we can get 100. So this is sitting at, what was it? 13, yeah. So it's going to be 100, okay? So let's go ahead and purify this Snubble here, and we're not going to evolve it, okay? In case community day happens, I want to hold on to that, so who knows? Probably going to be a PvP IV, so it's not like I need 100% IV, but who knows for Master League. We do have a return on it now, so that is another thing to consider. Return can be a very good move on specific Pokemon. Now, I'll talk about one of the best Pokemon to have return on is going to be Pokemon that are going to be normal types, as well as others that are going to have, we'll get into it. We'll get into it in a second. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. All right, moving it along here. Some garbage things. I'm literally just wasting space here. Like with this, why am I holding on to this horrible IV? Skarmory. What's the point? I think that was for the little cup for under 500 combat power. That is a horrible Gramble. That is a great Fanfi. Man, Community Day IVs right there for sure. Hitmontop and Donphan have the same IVs. That was weird. That's why I kept going back and forth. I was tripping myself. I was like, wait a minute, these two have the same IVs next to each other? That's some pretty rare stuff. Entei, Raikou, and Suicune, all garbage. PvP, Lavatar, and here we have the Shadow Tyranitar Shiny. Now, if you're thinking, well, if I got a good Shadow Tyranitar and it'll be 100 if I purify it for a Mega, should I do it? The choice is yours. Personally, I like having a good Shadow like this that's performing well without its Mega Evolution, and then a good, obviously normal one that I can Mega Evolve. So I'm going to have that same situation with Gardevoir. When it comes down to Lugia, it doesn't have a Mega, and it works great as a Shadow. Another thing you want to do is Pokemon that are bulky, those are going to perform amazing as a Shadow. Things like Lugia, things like Snorlax, things like Lapras. Those are all great. Ho-Oh is a bit of a tanky Pokemon too, 4 times weak to Rock, but there is that option as well as the Apex versions of those. You do have the plus moves too. So we got our Swampert here. We have 100 Swampert. We don't need to purify that. It wouldn't be 100 anyways. We got Ralts, and here we come up to the Gardevoir. So this Gardevoir is looking great. Great IVs. Athena is leaning up against my stand. Thank you, girl. Okay, so this is going to be good because, one, we're going to be able to use it in the Master League, and we're able to use it in raids alongside its 100% Mega Evolution. This is why I like to have a good Shadow and a good Mega, okay? And if you don't have the two options, the choice is yours. Which one should you stick with? If you had to add like, okay, well, I have a good Gardevoir. It's Shadow. Should I purify it for its Mega? The choice is yours, okay? I can't, you do what you got to do. Sableye is one of the Pokemon you want return on, obviously, for Go Battle League. I have this project here, and I did not realize how cool the eyes looked, or at least I just didn't remember how cool the eyes look as a Shadow. There's ever so slightly a black tint in there, which gives it a different look. Love that. Looks great. Nice Shadow Malwell. Or, well, yeah, this is Shadow Mawile, but nice Shadow Sableye. Do I have to say anything about Mawile? It's my mascot. Absolutely phenomenal. Destroys. Love it. Right. We don't need to purify that Aeron because we have 100 level 50 already. So it's evolution. Moving on here, we have some good shadows. That Bagon. And this Salamence, ooh, was expensive. Was it worth the investment? I'm going to say it was fun. It's fun to make videos, but gosh dang, the thing goes down if you blow on it. It's so damn shattered. Gets shattered. Obviously, defense is low too. Shadow Metagross. Metagross will receive a Mega. Do you want to purify them? Well, hopefully you can have an opportunity to get a bunch, but you definitely want Shadow Metagross in your arsenal as well, alongside a good normal Metagross for the Mega. Shadow Staraptor is amazing. It's going to be outperforming, obviously, its regular one and being a pretty good flying type attacker. I just haven't found a good Shadow Staraptor. Of course I haven't. Of course I haven't. All right, in a Garchomp, a Shadow. Ooh, if you can, I wouldn't recommend purifying it. We will get the Mega in the future, but I don't know. Again, it depends on how many you do have. I personally like to have a good Shadow and then a regular form. I've already got 100 Garchomp and all that. So we've reached the end here. Those are all my Shadow Pokemon, top IVs. Favorite Shadows? Let's go ahead and see here. I'm gonna have to say Snorlax for sure, not number one. These are just a handful of the ones that I personally love a lot, although I like most of my Shadow Pokemon. Charizard with Wing Attack, Blastburn, such a good Pokemon. Lapras, shiny as well. Hitmonchan, so expensive. Love that thing. Venusaur, also my favorite top Pokemon as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of my purified Pokemon here, see what we have going on. You're going to see a lot of 100% IVs here because obviously purification. All right, first one up is going to be Gloom. We're going to be going by number here. 100% IV, ready for a community day there. Venomoth was purified to have PvP IVs. This Persian was purified to have return and get stab. So I will be testing that out. Who knows? It's just so hard to use. 100% Arcanine here. It's great. It's good. It's cool. I'm not maxing it out. A 98 Drowsy. I'm not going to power that up. We do have a 100 Marowak, which I was thinking about powering up for the Ultra League, but that's going to equal a massive loss with the with all the Greninjas around now, and that's not happening. You know, it's just wacky. And then we do have 100 Dragonair, purified for PvP IVs Crobat, and then unfortunately a purified Wobbuffet, and then I got a better one a month or two later, or a year later, something like that. And yeah, here we are. I don't know why I have this Pineco here with this middle finger IVs. Okay, we have that 100 Snowball that we just made there. We need to go ahead and tag that under 100, so we're looking good. And we have this Shuckle, which I do not know why I have. That does not need to be there, to be honest. So we're going to unstar that and transfer that. We're going to also transfer this Loudron. As far as this Sableye, definitely, that's a good one. So you want that normal return on it. It's going to be very good. Hits so hard. All right, so I think, let me see here. Yeah, I think we're approaching the end of the list here. Yeah, another Sableye that I was thinking about working on for Omega. So when it comes to these, and I got my 100% IV Purified Mawile. No return. No. That's crap's not here. We don't need that. Used it in the Ultra League, got my ass kicked, but I won some battles for sure too. And my Staraptors, I'm being screwed over. One of my favorite birds, and I still haven't gotten a good one and done tons and tons. So there you have it, folks. My Shadow Pokemon and a few tips. Now, in closing here, let's go ahead and recap. All right, if you have multiple Shadow Mewtwo and you have a few decent Shadow Mewtwo IVs, and you really want a good 100%, a good 100, and you want a 100% IV Mewtwo, they're all good, then go ahead and purify it if you have multiple Shadows, okay? So you can get that Mega Mewtwo Y and X when it does come out. I don't know when that's going to happen, but whenever it does, you better look out. You think Rayquaza is going to be crazy, just wait till these son of a guns come out. That's going to be nuts. Really fun. As far as Pokemon that have Mega Evolutions, like we just kind of talked about Mewtwo, it really depends. I like to diverse it, make sure I have a good Shadow, and the closest thing to 100. I almost prioritize Shadows first because I can use them in Go Battle League, and it's extending the content that I can have. So there is that. Other than that, it's really up to personal preference, really, and we kind of went over pretty much everything else. So don't go, crazy on powering up Shadow Pokemon. you know, based off what you saw me have, because I've spent so much money on these things, or yeah, money, but Stardust, aka money. A lot just to test videos out and bring you content as soon as they're available, so you know, should I invest in this, or should I power this up, or what's the case with it. But I've wasted millions of Stardust, so if you saw something in there that you were like, oh, I'm gonna power up horrible IVs, I'm gonna do it too, you know, be a little hasty, okay? But anyways, there are a few tips on shadow Pokemon and which ones you may want to purify, and my whole collection here. So there you have it. Don't, if you purify Mewtwo, don't go and start showing it off. I mean, you can, but people are gonna start mocking the hell out of you. Just keep it to yourself. Keep your own shadow, your purified Mewtwo to yourself, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know why people get so crazy. It's I'm not gonna say it's cringy, because it's not. Yeah, sure, Shadow Mewtwo is good and all, but who cares if somebody wants to purify their Pokemon? What's the big deal? Why is everybody acting like they're spending their life savings or something? It's so weird. Or gambling all their money away in a casino. Anyways, thank you for watching. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, turn notifications on, and I'll be catching you all next time. Take care.